Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Heretic Knives Hydra Single Action OTF. These knives are periodically available. I will link them right down in the description. They are expensive, they are American made, and they're definitely going to be illegal in some places. So make sure you check your local laws. A single action OTF is quite a bit more powerful than a double action OTF. You can see here there's a release that, push that button down, pull back here, and what this does is it reloads the blade, or it creates spring tension, right? So this blade is sitting in here under tension, which is different than your double action OTFs, which I actually should have had ready. Your double action OTFs, where you sort of push forward and the spring throws it and pulls it back. This is much, much, much more powerful than that. We're going to talk about that. Thank you so much to Brian for sending this in for review. Really appreciate it. And thanks so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. There's a link for Patreon right down below as well. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. All right, let's go ahead and measure this guy. Good size. Overall length of the Heretic Hydra coming in at, surprisingly, I mean, okay, we go to the handle, where you're going to realistically be grabbing it. Before the switch, it's 8.5 inches. After the switch, like if you measure to the back of the switch, you're looking at 8.75. If you go all the way to the very butt of this thing, it's technically 9 inches overall, which is amazing because it really doesn't seem like a 9-inch knife, right? Pretty crazy because it feels and carries like a much more compact. It's still big, obviously. It just carries more compact than that. How about up some size comparisons, all right? Let's. I'll go ahead and put it up against the Microtech Scarab 2 since we've got it out here. So there you go. You can see, yeah, Microtech Scarab 2, same kind of deal here. We're looking at a 9-inch knife, maybe a little bit more if you count the glass breaker. I don't because I'm not grabbing the glass breaker, but there you go. How about up against the the Ontario Rat Model 1 and its little brother, the Ontario Rat Model 2. There you go. How about up against the Spyderco PM2 and Spyderco Para 3. Once again, obviously, large knife. Last but not least, the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, and its little brother, the Mini Griptilian. So, there you go. Big knife. We've got it established. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. Reloading this. That's one of the downsides to a single action OTF, right? We'll do carry profile up next to the Spyderco Para 3. You can see here thickness on this end, not that big of a deal. Thickness on this end, same kind of thing. It's really not terribly thick, right? It just kind of feels that way because of how the aluminum pieces just kind of meet each other. But no, it's really not all that bad. Let's go ahead and do length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. Yeah, I'm not going to say that this is a rectangle because it clearly doesn't take the shape of a rectangle. It takes the shape of something else. But length and height, I mean, you're carrying a fairly straight, kind of straight object with no major of it, right? Maximum height PM2 and Para 3 so it would be. It's longer than both. So keep in mind, it's definitely longer than both. But because of the shape, it really doesn't carry that crazy. It's still a big object, so keep that in mind, right? It's just going to depend on who you are. If you're used to carrying smaller stuff, this isn't going to work for you. Hardware check. Get out my tools here real quick. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. What am I doing with this? You can find them down in the section of my description that says my tools. I believe all of the screws on this... Nope. I think it actually looks like they're T8. Let's check. No. And are they even Torx? They look like they're hex. Here you go. Can you see? Yeah. Those are hex. That's weird. Okay. At least they let you get into it. I mean, that's the main point, the main reason in checking. So if you really need to, you can get in there. I wouldn't take this apart, right? If you would, great. I would still contact Heretic Knives if you've got something wrong with it. Make sure that you can do stuff like that so that you don't, mess up the warranty, yeah, talk with them first. Because this is an expensive item, and if you mess it up, the warranty's not going to cover it if you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. So anyways, moving on here, let's go ahead and check the blade stock thickness. Gosh, that thing fires hard. The camera is not going to do that justice. That is really a that's a powerful action. Blade stock thickness on this guy coming in at 150. It says 157. I would venture to guess it's about 155. Pretty similar to like your ZT-0562. In between the 0562 and the Hinder XM18 for blade stock thickness. How about weight? So we're looking at aluminum, steel chassis, and L-Max. All right, about what I thought. 5.11 ounces. For me, that's right in the weight range that I like to carry. For a lot of people, that's going to be too heavy, especially considering, what we didn't do is measure the blade. I gave you guys overall length, didn't I? But I didn't give you blade length. So blade length coming in at just a hair over 3.5, probably actually 3.5 on the dot. So it's 3.5 inches, right? So ratio, people are, oh no. It's a 5.1 ounce object that carries like a this shaped object, right? So not too thick. It's pretty large object in the pocket. I'm not gonna be able to get around these jokes. Yeah, so if 5.1 ounce knives bother you, then this will probably bother you. But I would say as far as 5 ounce knives go, this is probably a little bit easier to carry because it's more straight. It doesn't have any awkwardness, any flipper tabs or anything hanging off of it. All right, so you guys kind of saw how that operated. So taking a look at the scales here, you can see we've got these little, basically the traction lines continue out and just sort of give this kind of, I don't know, battle worn or maybe clawed up look on the outside. It's kind of neat, right? Now, as weird as the body shape is, I will tell you that it is very ergonomic for this style of knife. We've got some pretty aggressive jimping back here, which honestly does provide plenty of traction. So that's nice. I mean, honestly, whether you want to be choked back, choked forward, what I am feeling are these prongs on the clip. Man, like, they're just like snow skis. So that's kind of crazy. I don't really like that. They went out of their way to make the handle shape so comfortable, so ergonomic, and then we got this pocket clip back here that's like, it's just, why, okay. So this has a safety feature on it, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to tell you guys right now, despite that safety feature, the reason that I always talk about single action OTFs being, and I'm not going to say that they are intended to be used in a dangerous way. No, these are still tools. I always get people arguing with me. No, it's a tool. It's a tool. It's meant to just do work stuff, right? How you decide to use it, that can make it something else. But as far as what it was designed for, it was designed to be used as a tool, right? Just because it's an OTF doesn't mean it, doesn't mean you're supposed to go out and use it like Sub-Zero, all right? So calm down. Anyways, these things fire really hard. Despite this having a safety on it, a lot of you guys have heard this story. I've handled lots of knives, and lots of single action OTFs, the Halo, the Dark Angel, right? I got myself with this one directly into the hand. I don't know what I was doing. I'm actually still kind of hesitant around this guy, but I had the safety moved over, and for some reason I moved my hand in the way. It all happened real fast. It is completely healed, but basically if you can see that line right there, right next to this callus, it went right in here, and it was like a lancing blow off that callus. If that callus wasn't there, I think it probably would have done worse, but it still was pretty bad. It went right through and about a 1/4 inch past. I think maybe that skin might have slowed it down just a little bit, but it was not good. Much worse than what would happen with a double action. It healed, and I'm okay. But stuff like that can happen. So I think it's a really good idea that they had a safety. I was just being negligent and stupid. It wasn't the fault of the knife. It was my fault. This is a good idea. You can see how this little teardrop sort of springs back over the button. Because listen, you got that thing pulled back. it does not take much pressure to get that thing to fire out. And you can see how hard that thing is firing. It's firing hard. Bam! There's recoil on that sucker. It's definitely firing hard. So I think that's good. It makes it, knives like this, it makes me a little bit more, and by the way, people are asking, can you really push down on that thing as hard as you can? Yeah, I think they have it lipped and it's on a ledge. So no matter how hard you push down on this, you have to move it out of the way to get it to fire. I'm less hesitant to carry something like this in my pocket, but I'll tell you guys, with any single action OTF, coming from somebody, like if you're just dropping by my channel and you're like, who is this guy? Who does he think he is? Right? Buying, selling, trading, collecting knives ranging anywhere from $5,000 to about $4,000. Well, reviewing, right? For like 12 years, and I've got 2,000 uploads. So yeah, I've definitely handled a lot of knives. Not trying to flex, I'm just trying to say, if you're wondering, who is this guy? He's the guy who's handled a lot of knives, right? My preferences do not lie with single action OTFs because I'm a little, wow. You know, if you accidentally push that button and this thing is pointed towards something, it's not going to be good. I mean, obviously the same could be said for this is a Scarab 2, powerful double action OTF. It's not going to be nearly as bad. The outcome is not going to be nearly as bad than it with something like this, right? So I'm a little bit cautious. It's like I'm just as worried about somebody else like if I'm around people, right? That's something you have to think about. It's not just me screwing around down here in the studio that's where I got my hand. What if I was around somebody else and wasn't paying attention, right? Well, you should be paying attention. Oh, yeah, you're right. If everybody just, that's the answer to solving all accidents, right? Everybody just needs to pay attention and the world will just be all sunshine and rainbows. Murphy's Law! Don't sit there and pretend like accidents don't happen. They do. It doesn't matter how cautious you are or how much experience you have. Case in point, I feel like I'm pretty experienced and I accidentally fired this into my hand, right? Just middle of the day. Some stuff like, I'm saying most people aren't going to be as dumb as I was in that situation, but accidents can happen. With something like this, it is primed, literally, for accidents, right? So, I'm not wanting to carry stuff like this as much. It's a little bit alarming. This just takes, you know, accidentally pushing it down. Like if you've got the safety out of the way, it doesn't take much force. These, a double action, I'm much more likely to carry because it takes a lot more deliberate force to fire it. You're not going to be like, oops. No, that's not going to happen. This takes way more deliberate force. This, it happened. It was an accident. It took very little force once that little teardrop was out of the way. I fired it, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you because I accidentally did that, I'm like afraid of it and nobody should handle it. No. What I'm saying is, based on, yes, that experience, but my experience with many single action OTFs, takes much less force. It's much more likely that you will accidentally throw that blade, which is it's coming out with much more force, right? A lot of scary parts to that equation. Okay, so I'm just saying, you might think like, oh, cool, screw that guy Metal Complex in his mornings. Seriously, these can be dangerous, right? I mean, in the wrong hands for sure. Be careful with it if you're going to pick it up. Make your own choices. Obviously, I have it linked down below. Make your own choices, but be careful with it. Moving on here, I think that's enough of a warning. So these come in a wide variety of different flavors from what I've seen. You've got tumbled blades. You got maybe they do satin as well. This one's a DLC. They've got different colored aluminum scales. These are aircraft aluminum, so they have the Type 3 hard coat anodizing, blue, red, probably green, right? This one's black. Right, this one's super tactical. I think this is really aggressive. Up here, I think this is completely and totally needless. And, you know, I'm not going to say stuff's going to get caught in it, but it's just so thick up here. If we're going to have this narrow of a blade, I kind of want this whole area, I almost want the whole thing to, it'd be, I mean, a little bit of a flat up top, I think would have been fine. But, like, we have, you know, it's like 65% up. And here's the flat, and it's pretty thick. This is hollow ground. to my surprise. So yeah, it gets thin behind the edge, but you're still having to push that whole wedge of steel through the material if you're going to cut with it. Will it work? Yeah, actually, I trust this thing as a tool. Absolutely. It's ready to go. This isn't a toy. The stuff you buy on the cheapy sites for 50 bucks, those are toys. This is not a toy. You absolutely can take this thing out and beat on it and use it. Heretic knives, you know, along with Guardian Tactical, Microtech, these are upper tier American automatic knives. They are built to be used. They are not built to twirl around and then hang on the wall because it's a decoration. No, no, this is absolutely a tool and it's ready to go. LMAX, I think that's fine. I don't have a problem with LMAX at all. It's going to be tougher than, a lot of people say, I want M390 for that price. It's going to be a lot tougher than M390. It's going to be easier to sharpen. Still going to be stainless, and it's still going to have really good edge retention. As far as, you know, day-to-day performance goes, I like M390 as much as the next guy, but LMAX I think is a better all-around steel for what people realistically use their knives for. And again, it's going to be easier to sharpen. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I think the blade looks good, and here's the thing. These big sort of chunks that are missing out of the blade kind of make it look like it's almost serrated, not really. Right? It does go with the whole, I don't know, I'm getting kind of this military animalistic vibe from this thing. And yeah, I mean, it goes with it. I'm just saying for performance sake, it would have been nice if the flat wasn't so low. If it was maybe up here, and then if they did like a big hollow grind down to the edge, that'd be cool. But that's just for performance. This thing will still cut. And you know what? It was sharpened well. It's just kind of, you know, if the blade stock were a little bit thinner, and we didn't have, you know, such a prominent flat, I think it would have been better, but okay. Reloading, or that's what I call it. See the button right there? You're going to push, and then you're going to pull. And as you can see, pull this out, click. That's when you know the blade's been reset. We can see Heretic Hydra, or Heretic Knives Hydra, serial number, and then 582, and you can see the Heretic logo. And then it says USA. And you can see the continuation of this pattern down on this, whatever we call it, the reload bar is what I'm going to call it. There is a detent that holds that thing in place. You can hear it kind of click, right? You can pull it all the way out again once the blade's reloaded or reset, but it's not going to do anything. But it holds itself in there just fine. The pocket clip, I get what they were doing. This is the logo. The pocket clip is a disaster. This is so bad, and it doesn't look good. And also, like, why? With the little thing in the middle. God. Man, it looks like a pair of legs. With a... It's so weird, and it's not... It's bad enough that the whole thing is kind of... What is it with the knife roll, man? I know it wasn't on purpose. This was obviously, like, a serious... This was a serious design, right? Here's the thing. Aside from the looks of the pocket clip, which are ridiculous, these prongs are so, like, we don't need that, right? I think the pocket clip needs a complete and total redesign. Get rid of this whole logo, right? Just get rid of it, and just do a generic OTF pocket clip, because this is so weird. It does, functionally though, if you're wondering, it does carry deep, so... Like, there's really not a lot of the knife sticking up out of your pocket. You're going to have this little deedly-doodly thing, right? But it's there. Fit and finish all the way around, very good. In fact, you guys always ask me about blade play. This is really minimal blade play. Really, really, really minimal. Similar, if not better, to the Halo 6 that I handled. It's tight. It's almost nothing. It's really good. These are well built. You can see the seams. I'll let you guys take a look there. Seams all meeting up. Nice. All right. So what does this thing run? This knife runs, I think they typically run between $400 and $450. A lot of the ones I was seeing were $420. Considering the competition and the materials, right? The ProTech Dark Angel, last time I saw, which we're talking about serious OTFs, guys. We're not talking about the junker brands from other countries. We're not talking about those companies that claim to be putting things together in the United States, but in reality, they're just having the parts shipped over from China and then they're just assembling them in the United States, right? No, we're not talking about those brands. We're talking about the real American big boys. ProTech, Microtech, Heretic, We're talking about your Guardian Tactical knives, right? But Guardian Tactical doesn't have a single action yet. ProTech Dark Angel, Aircraft Aluminum, and 154 CM. What do they want for that thing? What is it? 250 bucks? 280 bucks? Something like that, right? That's the least expensive real deal single action OTF. Unless Piranha, does Piranha do something? I think Piranha's got a pretty good reputation for like a real, US knife. And then we got this guy coming in at 420 bucks. That's a lot of money, right? Then you got the Halo 6 coming in at $700 or $800. But they use 20 CV. Yeah, they do, but that you want to pay that much more money for that? It's a lot bigger. Does bigger mean that it's worth more money? No. This is a pretty good price for something like this. 420 bucks. It's a lot of money though. They obviously could have charged less money, but I think they realized where they were in the competition zone, right? I think that they should charge less money, and I think they'd sell more of them. I think if they dropped to 380, 385, I think you'd sell a lot more just because you have that 3 number in there. And I think that that's more of a fair price. Competition-wise, they're in the right area. But as far as actual value goes, that's why I'm bringing that up. I get how they arrived at $420, right? Actual value, though, I'm thinking more like 380. This is really, it's cool. I mean, cool factor's off the charts here. Can I recommend it? No. No. Listen, guys, this is something that you buy if, and this whole review has been very condescending, so I'm sorry about that. I'm just trying to tell you, trying to be honest, trying to shoot you straight here. But this whole thing is completely and totally unnecessary, right? What if it's alive and, I'm in a tactical snare and I need to deploy my blade really quick? Emerson Wave. Literally anything with the Emerson Wave. There are way less expensive knives with the Emerson Wave. Like, if that's what you're really concerned with, I don't care how quickly you get this thing out of your pocket. You have to get to the button first. So if you're talking about deployment speed, which makes me cringe, that whole discussion makes me cringe, right? Anything with the Emerson Wave, you can get stuff with the Emerson Wave for like $50 to $75, right? So if that's what you're concerned with, no, you don't need to spend $420 for a tactical advantage, right? You're paying for cool factor. And it's a conversation piece. Show your friends this, your responsible friends who don't freak out when they look at knives. Hey, check this out. Hey, Brad, check this out. Whoa, bruh, let me see that. Yeah, it's a conversation piece for sure. It's a conversation piece that can legitimately be used and is very durable, right? And is using pretty darn good materials. But, I mean, like, if you want to talk about, other knives that you can get in the same price range and the value for not just the materials, but the design, the ease of manipulation, right? All of that stuff. Yeah, there's some pretty fierce competition out there. Not in the single action OTF department, but just in the knife world in general, right? You're going to get a much more convenient, safe, and tactical. Like, if you want to throw all of those terms at it, yeah, you can get everything. This is a lot more like, wow, that is super cool. It's made really well, right? But if you want to talk like tactical advantage, mostly utilitarian advantage, ease of manipulation, right? Quality of materials, all of that stuff together. Yeah, there are way better knives out there. This is cool, right? And if you're wondering, blah, 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 metal complex, I just want to know if it's made well. Yes, it's made well. If you're like watching this video because you're trying to figure out like, is this some well-made US OTF, single action OTF? Yeah, knock yourself out. The link's in the description. Can I recommend it to people? No. Super illegal. I think it's pretty dangerous. And it's inconvenience considering you have to reload it. This is a two-handed, I don't care who you are. You need 2 hands. Unless you're a magician or you're Doctor Strange, you need 2 hands to reload that thing. It's, a regular, look at this. Deploy. There you go. It's done, right? I'm on my way, and the OTF guy's still reloading that thing. I'm hesitant to say the C word, right? What's another word for reload that starts with C? That's why I'm not saying it, because we've already, you know what I mean? This is cool though. I really like it. And Heretic, I've handled a few of their knives now. Very high quality. don't shy away from Heretic knives. They have a lot of cool stuff to offer. I know I'm joking around about this thing. They make some nice knives. Great stuff. Good company to support over some of that other junk that I was talking about earlier in the video. They're really good at deceiving people, and their prices are real tempting. But it ain't the real thing. The Heretic does a good job, right? Anyways, guys, I think that's going to be pretty much it. Thanks again to Brian for letting me take a look at this. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.